James.
Milan.
Last 20 days.
This is where we are right now, just a few days away from that end.
2 days left. I'm sorry for all of our UK watchers, but there's 2 days left. But for Harold camping, complete fucking asshole. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Harold camping. Why do you have to be such an asshole? Anytime somebody calls in on a show, open forum, which I guess the show is not intended to be used to call in and ask him about May 21st, because, I mean, all the information is on his website. If you have any questions about May 21st, just go to familyradio.com. They've got pamphlets and everything. Do not call his show and ask him about May 21st. Excuse me.
All I have to say is if you're Harold Camping, and you're basically famous for, spreading shit about the apocalypse, what the fuck else do you think people are going to call your radio show about?
No,
if they want to ask questions about Jesus, they can go ask anybody questions about Jesus just as certifiable as you.
No, actually, he's not certified. He never studied.
Yeah, that's right.
He has no degree. Would you go to a doctor who had never been to medical school who says, listen, you're going to die on May 21st, 2011. Would you believe a doctor who told you that? Absolutely not. So why are we believing some guy who never took any class on the Bible who's just saying, you know what, I think the world's going to end on September 6th, 1994. Oh! Wrong, Harold Camping, wrong!
The wages of sin is death. Now, on May 21, 2011, it will be marked the time when God is finished, completely finished, with his salvation program on the face of the earth. No one else will become saved after that date, and those who have become saved will get the completion of their salvation, namely their salvation of their bodies. They will be resurrected and out of the ground if they had become saved before they were buried. And if they're living at that time, they'll be instantly changed into their glorified spiritual body, and they will be caught up from planet Earth to be with Christ. The salvation program of the gospel is 100% finished on May 21. The judgment process has to be finished. That will take another 5 months. It is a time of great horror. It's a time when billions of people will be dying, and whoever's left after 5 months will be annihilated as a whole earth, the whole world will be annihilated and never come into mind again. Thank you for calling and sharing. And shall we take our next call, please?
This one's good.
Welcome to Open Forum.
Mr. Campion, I pray for you often, and I was doing a search on YouTube and found excerpts from Open Forum in which you predicted several different dates over many years. You've made 10 predictions in total dating all the way back to 1978, and when I worked for you...
Excuse me, that is not true at all what you are saying, and if you don't have a question, please, we're going to go to our next
Okay, I do have a question for you.
Well, now, excuse me, then what is what Bible verse or what Bible truth do you want to ask the
Mr.
question
Campion,
about?
if we're still here on May 22nd, will you take responsibility for the ones you've led astray?
Excuse me, you're not talking about the Bible, and we're not going to talk about May 22 because that's Judgment, the second day of Judgment Day, and we don't. It's the fact
Spit it out, Harold.
that the end of God's salvation plan will absolutely, certainly end.
Okay, but
and so will Judgment Day begin on. Excuse me, please. Let's go to our next call. We can't continue in this fashion. Please, shall we take our next call?
Excuse me, Harold Camping. Harold Camping doesn't let anyone speak. If you want to get your way, you can't let anybody else have an opinion. It just has to be what you think, and fuck what anyone else thinks. Bill, we all remember Bill, just recently got some Chinese food. And he got, with his Chinese food, as everyone always does with their Chinese. No, he saw something similar to Jesus inside this fortune cookie. Because his fortune cookie said, "Don't worry about the world coming to an end, it's already tomorrow in Australia." And if you don't believe me that this little fortune cookie exists, they sent me a picture of it. I will have it on the show on Saturday during the Herald Camping Party, the Rapture Party, the camping cake will be there. Eternal Earthbound Pets USA. We talked about before, people who will watch your pets after you've been raptured. It's a business run by atheists, which for $135 will take care of your dog or cat if you're among those believers who are whisked away on Saturday. And there's You've Been Left Behind, which for $14.95 will send emails or digitalized documents you want delivered to friends or relatives in the event that you're not here after the rapture.
Been saved.
Some more Twitter posts are coming up. Kevinism says, "On Saturday, take some of your old clothes and shoes and leave them arranged on sidewalks and lawns around town." I think that is a great idea.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have the most scandalous underwear out. And rain boots.
Looks like somebody got raptured in their sexy panties. What We'll Miss If the World Ends, by Lisa Respers France, CNN. The clock is ticking towards May 21st, which listeners of Family Radio have marked as the day of rapture, when Christians will be caught up in the air to meet Jesus. The day will also, they say, be the start of a 5-month Judgment Day and the end of the world as we know it, which comes on October 21st. Remember, we're still working on the giant Persian rug of the world with all of our dead bodies. If true, that would suck for so many reasons, including the mass destruction of chaos, which is sure to follow. But let's consider a few reasons why it would be a tragedy in the realm of pop culture. The Little Monsters, as we mentioned before, will totally miss out on the official release of Lady Gaga's new album, Born This Way, slated for May 23rd. Though to console themselves, they can check it out online since, like the truth, it's out there. We never get to hear Beyonce's new album entitled 4. Ditto for the eagerly awaited films Green Lantern, Captain America, and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, The Muppets in November, and all of that build-up. Final episode of Oprah, after 25 years of her debut, we will never know if the troubled Broadway production Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark made it into its final opening, because that isn't scheduled to happen until June 14th. I don't think the end of the world is going to happen on May 21st, and I also don't think that Spider-Man will ever truly succeed. I'm sorry, Julie Taymor, but she's totally been cut from the creative team. Listen, Julie, I'm not really sure our whole creative team, our creative efforts are matching up because, I mean, people are dying out there, Julie. People are dying out there. Your name will go on the poster. We'll be in touch. I've been in contact with Deborah of talkandact.com. They will be having a May 21st Rapture Party this Saturday. The show goes up live, 2 p.m. Pacific time. I actually work that day until 6 p.m., so I won't be able to actually get out to them as soon as I would hope. Now, Bill Jester, of course you guys remember Bill who follows Last 20 Days, has sent us an email, and he says, interesting algorithm, 7 plus 7 plus 7, lucky 777, 7 plus 7 plus 7 is 21. There we go, Harold Camping, end of the world. There it is, there it is. It makes so much sense now. If history repeats itself, and the unexpected always happens, how incapable must man be of learning from experience? Thank you, George Bernard Shaw. Those who cannot learn from history are condemned to repeat it. Thank you, George Santayana. Karl Marx says, history repeats itself first as tragedy, second as farce. Doomsday Church still open for business. Employees not convinced rapture is coming. By now you've probably heard of the religious group that's predicting the end of the world this weekend. Harold Camping and his devoted followers
He's funny.
claim a massive earthquake will mark the second coming of Jesus, or a so-called Judgment Day, on Saturday, May 21st, ushering in a 5-month period of catastrophes before the world comes to a complete end in October. At the center of it all, Camping's organization, Family Radio, is perfectly happy to take your money, and in fact received $80 million!
It's a lot of dollars.
in contributions between 2005 and 2009. Camping founded Family Radio, a non-profit Christian radio network based in Oakland, California, with about 66 actually, I think we counted, radio stations across the country in 1958. But not even all of his own employees are convinced that the world is ending on Saturday. In fact, many still plan on showing up at work on Monday. I don't believe in any of the stuff that's going on, and I plan on being here next week, a receptionist in their Oakland headquarters told CNN Money. A program producer in Illinois told us,
"We're going to do what we do. We're going to continue doing what we're doing."
According to their most recent IRS filings, Family Radio is almost entirely funded by donations and brought in $18 million in contributions in 2009 alone. According to those financial documents, accountants put the total worth of Family Radio, referred to as family stations in its official forms, at $72 million.
It's too many dollars.
With those kind of financials and controversial beliefs, it's no wonder skeptics have accused this group of running a scam. Camping first inaccurately predicted the world would end in 1994. Even so, he has gathered even more followers. Some who have given up their homes, entire life savings, and their jobs because they believe the world is ending. Esther, the receptionist in the Oakland office, said some of her most extreme coworkers have recently driven up in fancy cars or taken their families on nice vacations as a last hooray. But overall, she estimates about 80% of her coworkers don't even agree with camping's May 21st forecast. She has stuck to her work as usual, booking appointments and filling up calendars for her coworkers well beyond the May 21st date. Meanwhile, some employees are questioning the meaning of Harold Camping's goodbye letter sent to the Family Radio mailing list last week. While he says farewell, he encourages employees to steadfastly continue to stand with us to proclaim the gospel through Family Radio. Could that mean he plans on disappearing, but the company should still go on its business as usual? The producer in Illinois said, "We're trying to guess what it means for the company. Our producers have programs done through the end of the month, so we're not looking at having any effect on the work." Also curious is why Family Radio filed for an extension to file their financial paperwork. The group is required to file financial paperwork in many of the states where they solicit donations, and in Minnesota, they requested an extension from their July 15th deadline to November 15th. July 15th was already well past their Judgment Day prediction when they say believers will ascend into heaven, so why bother requesting an extension to November? But Family Radio's financial filings otherwise look hardly unusual for a religious nonprofit. At first glance, it looks like they have a lot of assets, but they actually don't have a lot of cash that they're stockpiling, says Lori Stiven. Most of the group's net worth is tied up in FCC broadcasting licenses, valued at $56 million. The Family Radio claimed that it only held $1.5 million in cash on its books at the end of 2009. The paperwork shows Camping has so far never taken a penny for his own salary, but Family Radio has plenty of other paid employees. The nonprofit employed about 350 people and paid them a collective $8.3 million, or roughly $23,000 per person in 2009. In the last few months, Family Radio billboards have popped up across the country, and the group purchased RVs to drive around the country in its evangelizing missions. If people donating to this group think the world is ending on Saturday, then I'm not sure they care. You're making an assload of money, Harold Camping. An assload of money. You're making an ass out of yourself as well, Harold Camping. Because on May 22nd, when you are still here, and I know you will be, there's 2 days left, Harold Camping. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? But until then, of course, tune in tomorrow for some more End of the World ravings. Doomsday Church still open for business. Employees not convinced rapture is coming. This article comes to us from Enelin Sensky.
You have to edit that out.
I don't think I will.
No, you have to.
I think I'm going to leave that in.
No, you have to. I can't. We don't even have a dog we can blame it on. I knew it was coming.